Hello and welcome to the companion videos for how to pick your class story in Star Wars Old Republic. So I've given a previous video where we go through a primer of some of the main points that you want to think about for picking a class story. So now let's go look in a little bit more detail at each class story that you feel like is the one that you're probably wanting to play next if you're still looking to have a few more questions answered. Of course, if you're just interested in hearing a little bit more about my opinions and how the class stories work, feel free to stick along to enjoy reliving all of the thoughts about what you enjoyed about playing these different classes and seeing the things that I enjoyed about playing these different classes. Again, the focus here is to highlight some of the things that make the class story very good in terms of if this is what you're looking to get out of the story, or here's what I think people will be most attracted to. It doesn't necessarily mean that every story is great for everybody. There are some which I've enjoyed a lot more than others. And yeah, let's get started with the Jedi Knight story. So boasting the second most popular companion as voted by Reddit, the Jedi Knight story doesn't usually rank as the best class story in the game, but it consistently rates very high. Playing through the Chosen One story, you start off as a very powerful Force user that has already received training in the Force for quite some time before you start your journey on Tython. You will quickly get thrown into combat as a capable and strong Padawan, and it doesn't take long before the Jedi Council starts to send you on some of the most important missions to prevent the Emperor and the Imperial Empire from conquering the galaxy. This is the first class story I played, and I thoroughly enjoyed going through all of the expansions with this class. It is really an easy class to roleplay with, although there were a few times I rolled my eyes with the decisions that were forced upon me. I felt the gameplay was enjoyable, even though at times it got a little bit predictable or cliche. The light side choices tend to line up well with the class, and I even dabbled in a dark side choice or two. It was enjoyable. I have heard conflicting feelings on how playing a pure dark side is for the storytelling, as I haven't done it myself, but it's definitely an interesting experience from what I've seen. I can't say too many bad things about this class, but I would say it is 100% catered towards people who want to play the role of the strongest Jedi in the galaxy and creating your story about how you use that power. Speaking of companions, your first companion will be an adorable droid T7-01, followed by a sassy and fun Kira Carson, a fellow Jedi Padawan with a very unique secret. As you progress around the galaxy, you'll run into Doc, who will join your crew and love to boast about how great he is. So you're either going to love or hate him. You will pick up a Sergeant Rusk, who's a real hardcore Republic trooper and a real military man, who needs to learn a little bit of flexibility in his life, which you will show him. The last companion you'll get during the story is quite interesting, as it's a Sith. There are lots of great companion stories to enjoy throughout playing this class story. Sith Warrior story. Boasting the most popular companion as voted by Reddit, the Sith Warrior story does not disappoint. A lot of people really love the dynamic between the Master and yourself as you learn about the Sith Code and how to rise to power within the politics and backstabbing of the Sith. Your story starts off a bit different as you're not brought to Korriban under normal circumstances. But due to your immense power with the Force, you are rushed into secret training and jump right into the action of killing and becoming a Dark Lord's apprentice. Your story will take you across the galaxy hunting for those who pose a serious threat to your master, Darth Barris, or Wide Barris as people love to joke, while building up your own crew of companions. One of the real interesting aspects of this class is how you have an opportunity to turn a Jedi and a Padawan to the dark side. In addition, picking to follow either the light or the dark side gives you quite the interesting story dynamics and offers some nice replayability. I don't find you can properly roleplay all of the light side choices, but the storytelling is still quite well done if that's the route you choose to go. As the story progresses, you will improve your base of power and become one of the strongest Sith, while remaining true to your warrior roots, staying out of politics as much as possible and using your raw power and strength to conquer your enemies. This class also plays quite well into the expansions, although I would rank the 2 Jedi Force users and the Sith Inquisitor as slightly higher picks for the rest of the expansions. I don't want to spoil the story, but I highly suggest picking up the story if you like playing as one of the strongest Force users in the galaxy in a straightforward manner. The game also provides a few opportunities to indulge in passion as a Sith and engage in a few flings around the galaxy if you choose. Your first companion is Vet, who is a very funny and interesting Twi'lek familiar with the life of crime. The way that you treat her can vary so much, with her starting as your slave and getting to choose to maintain that relationship, or build one of trust and cooperation. Next off, you get a very smart Imperial officer who is very good at so many things, and you get to see him going from being kind of a nobody stuck in a rut officer to a very capable strategist and fighter who craves to bring success for the Empire. You will get a mysterious young Force user's companion that will have a drastically different personality depending on your choices. Later in the story, you'll pick up a very experienced Suicide Squad soldier with a let's get her done attitude. I would say the reactions to the companions can be very mixed, with quite a few either you'll love them or hate them companions, but overall, I feel there's definitely some strong companions for this class. Sith Inquisitor. Arriving on Korriban as a former slave, you have to make it through the trials and the intense challenge of surviving to become an apprentice to a Dark Lord. Thankfully for you, Lord Zash has a vision of the next apprentice being a former slave, and you happen to be that slave. As you find out just how strong your connection to the Force is, you learn much about the knowledge required to be a Dark Lord. The story dives you right into the politics and history of the Sith, showing you many dark rituals, quests to gain knowledge, and the challenges of rising up in power with the Sith way. There was a lot of focus on this aspect of gaining knowledge using ancient artifacts and Sith rituals. Unlike most of the classes, not everyone appreciates the starting companion for this class and generally rate them lower. As you navigate your way through treachery and everyone trying to kill you, you must find ways to grow in power while avoiding your death at the hands of a very powerful Sith. One of my favorite parts of the story was the humor in the writing and the many choices to shock people just because. Your character can be a bit clumsy at times and makes lots of mistakes, but as you learn more, you become stronger and smarter. Thankfully, you have some great abilities to keep you going through your mistakes. There are definitely some compelling arguments to play this story through, both the light and the dark side choices. Your first companion is an interesting creature from many years ago who served Tulak Hord, one of the greatest Sith in history. He is very different and can be hard to like, but provides an immense amount of rich history from his past and comes to be a very loyal companion. You manage to fill out your crew by finding a bounty hunter on the run, a Jedi Padawan who is unable to return to the Jedi Order, and it's quite interesting. You pick up an officer from Imperial Reclamation Services to help you find new knowledge and powerful artifacts. Quite interesting how much screen time the majority of the companions get throughout this story. Jedi Consular. Generally one of the lowest ranking class stories, this one holds a very special place for those who love the class. No other story allows you to better be the serene and selfless Jedi than the Consular. Or turn you to the dark side. You are the healer and put yourself last in your quest to bring healing and peace to the galaxy. The first chapter is very repetitive, but really tries to showcase the selflessness in healing and quest for knowledge from the ancient Jedi ways. As your adventure continues, you will learn about other alien races and work to negotiate multiple leaders to hopefully have them stay within the Galactic Republic instead of supporting the Empire. As you embark on this journey of showing how the Republic will benefit all, things take a dangerous turn as it becomes apparent there is a traitor in your midst. You must work to unravel this threat as you continue to try and keep the peace and prevent the Empire from gaining a foothold. This search for the traitor unravels a much more sinister enemy and threat to the Republic. You must forge alliances and recruit many people to your cause to ensure the Empire is not able to wipe out the Republic. Although this class story is geared towards being the healer and knowledge seeker of the Jedi, this doesn't mean you can't use a non-healer role to play through the story if you prefer having a more combat-capable character outside of the cutscenes. I don't feel like the writing in the story for the dark side choices really does it any value, as it veers away from the true intent of the story without providing a lot of value to actually changing the story. Speaking of companions, let's look at the companions now. Your first companion for this class is very unconventional, a traditional Trandoshan warrior. Being a consular, it is showing the true nature of your openness to be accepting and learn about other cultures and work with them. I very much enjoyed this aspect, although a lot of people didn't necessarily enjoy this companion as much as I did. As you continue your journey, you will pick up a brilliant, although overly cocky scientist with a very, unique companion. Unlike most class stories, you'll get quite a bit of screen time with your final companion as they become your Padawan. Some of your companions get quite a bit of screen time in your story, but others feel a bit more like a minor character. Trooper. Being part of the Republic's finest squad of soldiers is no easy task, nor is it one for everybody. It turns out there are a lot of politics involved with being a soldier for the Republic, even when you're part of the most elite special forces. It turns out that politics make it very hard to accomplish your mission at certain times. You also see the dynamics of how generals are often trying to take a path that sacrifices morals and ethics for victory. Personally, I found this one of the slowest stories to play through. Sometimes it just seemed to drag on, but it really does a great job of putting you right in the boots of a trooper and experiencing the military in the Republic. As you go on dangerous missions and recruit more soldiers to your Havoc squad, you get a few chances to have some extra fun around the galaxy if you choose. Wink wink. Both a personal nature and financial gain. I quite enjoyed mixing up the dark and the light side options to keep this story fresh, but the true yes ma'am experience is to go full light side. Personally, I enjoyed throwing the dark side options as I let the power get to my head. The general feedback I have seen is this is one of the weaker stories in the game if your goal isn't to be the military man in the Republic. If you are looking for the trooper experience, this story does hit a lot of good spots. About your companions. Your first companion is a jaded soldier who is exceptionally loyal to the military and continues to follow the rules, putting aside his own personal complaints for the job. As you learn to work together, you start to find out the past history and his previous role as an elite sniper squad member. Additional companions give you a huge variety in your crew, ranging from an Imperial defector, who is very much everything by the rules, a high-tech battle droid, who is very boastful and loud and happy, a criminal, and a very odd alien species who has come to you through a vision of sorts. It is the right thing to do. It is a mixed bag on how much screen time your companions get, but generally there are lots of interesting companion stories and small interactions to keep them feeling unique and adding depth to your story. Imperial Agent. Fresh into Imperial Intelligence, you show aptitude and charisma with an excellent proficiency in combat. You are immediately tasked with infiltration, deception, and killing as your first assignment. Protecting the Imperial interest and ensuring the correct forces have a beneficial relationship for the Empire. As you return back to Imperial Intelligence after a successful field mission, the impossible happens and a large-scale terrorist attack falls upon the Empire. The brutal politics between being in Imperial Intelligence and the rule of the Sith is soon exposed, with you getting an extremely personal up-close taste of it all. As you travel the galaxy trying to defuse the terrorist threat, the story starts to change and morphs, and you will end up finding not everything is as it seems. As an agent, you can be very persuasive and, if needed, are not one to shy away from some very personal encounters and seduction. As you grow in influence and skill within intelligence, you will go even deeper undercover with the Republic, but things are not as they seem. It seems you may have been betrayed from within the Empire, but unraveling the politics of this is not as straightforward as it first seems. The story becomes very complex with keeping track of who you really are, who is truly manipulating you, and it will test your resolve to stay loyal to the Empire. This story offers a lot of variety between the light and dark choices, providing great replayability to make different choices and see different cutscenes on additional playthroughs. Highly regarded for its story, it can be a bit slow at times, but once you get further in, it's hard to stop playing as you just need to know what plot twist will come next. It's hard to say exactly why a few people don't like this story, but just keep in mind that the glowing reviews might not mean this is the best story for you. Companions for this class can really be a part of the challenge with connecting, I think. The first companion you get is an anarchist with a lot of raw talent and skill in manipulation, and a twisted dark side. Because there's a huge amount of focus on your first companion, if you don't like her, it's going to be a bit of a drag. If sleeping around the galaxy is your kind of fun, then she's going to give you a run for your body count in more than one way. The next main companion you get is Vector, who has joined his mind with the Killik Swarm. I really found this fascinating to have a companion who is part of the hive mind while still being independent, and I very much enjoyed exploring this companion story and learning about the Killiks from a different perspective. That said, not everyone shares my enthusiasm for this bug boy. In a popularity contest, the Mad Scientist tends to get voted the best companion for this story, but comes much later in the story, and I don't feel like there's enough screen time. I really feel that the companions were not as solid of a choice in this class story. Bounty Hunter. A very talented up-and-coming bounty hunter, you have been recruited to join a small team with their sights set on getting you into and winning the Great Hunt. What is the Great Hunt? This is an exclusive Mandalorian competition to find the greatest bounty hunters in the world. Only a few exclusive outsiders ever get invited to participate. Managing to narrowly convince your way into the Great Hunt through deeds of your strength, you are challenged in a contest to the death to be the last one standing for the honor. Being part of this exclusive club entails becoming a Mandalorian through ritual and getting access to some of the most interesting bounty contracts in the galaxy. Part of the problem is someone seeks to bring all of this crashing down and remove you from the picture entirely. You go from having it made as part of the elite group of bounty hunters to having deception and traps waiting for you at multiple turns. Left to fend for yourself with your name as a criminal for the worst offenses, you have to find a way to survive without being caught and clear your name to regain your freedom. This story is quite funny with a lot of jokes and great companions. I didn't find the story itself to excel at anything in particular, but the adventure and choices you get to make is what made it so memorable. You get to choose if you're in it just for the money, if you always clean up your jobs and don't ask questions, or if you want to have a little empathy and let a few people walk away with their lives. The story bounces around a lot, just like the job of a bounty hunter, as you try to avoid being tied down and taking jobs to make money as needed. The strength of the story really comes from the companions and all the humor sprinkled into the cutscenes. The story can definitely be played either dark or light side. Well, a mixture of both even works, depending on how you view your character. Speaking of companions, the popularity of companions according to Reddit is exceptionally high for the bounty hunter, with all 4 companions making it to the top 10 out of the 40 class companions. We won't talk about the fact that I said all 4 companions when each class actually gets 5 companions. Mako is smart, funny, somewhat cliche, but does make for a great sidekick and gets a lot of good story. Galt is a blast and extremely fitting for your crew with lots of annoying yet funny dialogue, and nobody is complaining about getting a fellow Mandalorian and a Jawa as part of the crew. Smuggler. This story was definitely written by someone who's a big fan of being Han Solo, but at the same time was told they can't make it too much like being Han Solo. Taking odd jobs and making money, legally or otherwise, is the name of the game. Keep your freedom and shoot first when necessary. Use your luck and charisma to stumble your way from one dangerous situation to another, making money as you go. Things take a really bad turn on your first mission though, being betrayed and framed, causing you to have to chase down your target with limited resources. Through sheer dumb luck, you find a partner who needs your help in reclaiming one of the lost fortunes of the galaxy. As you make your way around gaining influence, the Republic takes note and gives you an offer you can't refuse. Credits and some protection from the law in return for a little help to the Republic? Sign me up. Not everything is that easy, and it soon turns out that many powerful forces in the galaxy are out to stop you and bribe whoever it takes to be rid of you. You can charm your way around the galaxy and have quite a few flings if you want. Also taking the stance for credits or for moral reasons, however you want. You might be quite surprised in the outcome of picking your story through lighter dark side choices, as not everything is as it seems. The story is funny, it has some very interesting threads to follow, and a few key companions help add a little extra depth to the story. Companions are definitely not as strong in this story, but you get to have your very own Wookiee to adventure the galaxy with you. I think one of the biggest weaknesses is the first companion can be a very hit or miss experience for people, with most people not enjoying Corso's outdated version of being a small town rural boy who thinks women need to be protected and treated like they can't fend for themselves. He does have sweet intentions, but it just doesn't fit that well with a mischievous crew of smugglers. Things really kick off when you get your interesting business partner to find the lost riches of an old powerful pirate, with Risa just making the top 10 list of companions as voted by Reddit. You fill out your crew with a lost Mandalorian warrior and a failed Jedi Padawan who seems incapable of anything smart, but somehow has managed to survive to this day. Thanks very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this more detailed look at the different companions, their class stories, and I hope that this helps you make a better informed decision of which companion stories you want to tackle first, based on the ones you think you're going to enjoy the game the most. Remember, when it comes to playing a class companion, it's very important to kind of get into the mindset of your character, to be able to roleplay a bit, start thinking about what is their personality going to be? Why do you want to pick light and dark side choices? Don't just mindlessly say, BioWare gave me a light side choice, so I need to pick a light side choice, or they gave me a dark side choice, so I need to pick that. It becomes much more interesting and nuanced when you look at thinking, what is the personality of my character? As the light and the dark side choices don't always line up well with consistency and how they're applied throughout the game. Thanks everybody again for your support. I love it when people share my content, like, comment, the Patreons, as always, super appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for that. Gives me the motivation to keep making these videos and keep sharing this great content with everybody else who loves playing this game. As always, see you in the next video and have a great day.